Okay, go ahead. I pledge allegiance to the flag to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular council meeting for September 14th, 2023. This meeting has been properly advertised and posted in accordance with Public Law 75, Chapter 231. Have a roll call, please.
Mayor Tim Petty.
Here.
Atenisi. Atenisi will not be here tonight. Clark.
Here.
Dash.
Here.
Galloway.
Here.
Heist will not be here today. Hesse.
Yes. Here.
Timbers.
Here.
Wright.
Here.
Ritchie.
Here. There's no.
Sorry.
No, you're good. If there's no questions regarding minutes from last meeting, I have a motion.
Make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, at this time, anybody from the public, agenda items only, excluding items listed for public hearings, any comments? Now's your time. All right, no one from the public. Mayor, the floor is yours for the report.
Okay, Jackson, I wanted to let everybody know if you've seen birdhouses over at East Pilgrim Park. Jackson Sen did an Eagle Scout project there, and did you see them? And they put birdhouses all around. They really look cute. I would like to bring him into the next council meeting and recognize him for his accomplishment of being an Eagle Scout.
Sure.
So.
Absolutely.
Then, I spoke to Jake Boxella from Triad. He, mentioned the Small Cities Grant is coming up, and it's another ATA project. And what I thought of first is Senior Center, which is really run down. You can't even go upstairs because the floor's like, rotten.
Well, they can get into the first floor. That's handicap accessible. I don't know. I never knew the intent was to get them up because it's like
But it needs a lot of
it'd
work.
be an elevator.
It needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
So. we can look
Improve
at
what
it.
there is.
Unless there's another idea, of what we want to do. Like I said, it has to be ADA driven.
What's the closing date for that?
Couldn't combine it. I think it's the beginning of November.
Okay.
And I mean, you could also do something ADA out at the lake to add on to the, what we're doing out there already.
I would say too, at City Hall too, a lot of,
City
we
Hall,
experienced it at
City
City
Hall.
Hall with people getting in,
Yeah, they have to ring a
We have a
doorbell. We have
doorbell.
no way of like.
but it
someone
doesn't
handicapped
open it.
getting
They
in.
ring the
Right.
doorbell and one of us has to go. That's a doorbell. We have to get up and go open the door. Like, but you don't think of that when you don't.
So you need like a door opener.
Need power
Yeah,
access.
Right.
Or,
Yeah,
and even
that's
wider
what
door frames because we do
That
have,
would be-
actually, those doors are, I think City Hall might be the
So
answer.
City Hall, you want me to mention it?
I'm just
Yes.
suggesting,
I think that's a good idea.
Mayor, is there a limit on the amount we
Right.
apply for?
I think that's a good idea.
No, but I think it's 400. That's what.
400,000.
And obviously there's a match.
and I will say too, everybody says these doors are so heavy to
They
put, like
really are.
elderly coming in.
At one
Okay.
time, people were getting hurt because
Yeah.
they closed on, remember that?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
All right,
Oh,
so
right.
that's a good idea, very good idea. Maybe.
And all entrances you have here,
Yeah, I was gonna say all of them.
How about the bathrooms? That probably.
Yeah.
Would be a good thing to do.
if somebody would come and evaluate, right?
Oh,
I would
yeah.
think.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I would say City Hall.
Okay.
And even coming in here for a public meeting room,
Oh,
no?
For the fire rated doors, so they won't be able to do that. Yeah.
okay, so that's good information there. I also wanted to let everyone know that, Tom Messina died. Some of you may know him. But he passed away, and Tom was a very enthusiastic volunteer. He played Santa Claus, he did everything at the Legion, all kinds of stuff. He was like the commander over there at one point in time of the whole state of New Jersey. He also was directly responsible for getting the piece of the towers,
9/11.
the 9/11 memorial that we have out here. So, I don't know if you want to have a moment of silence for him or whatever, but I just did want to let you know that you know, he passed, and we lost a really great person. We love Dave Harper.
We could have a moment of silence for passing Mr. Messina. Thank you.
All right, I have the lake report here, the final lake report. I don't believe there's anything outstanding. And recall, we did raise the prices, so altogether, we sold 13,540 forms of wristbands, badges, etc., for the total of, actually, it was $16,795. The $8 bands were 13,000. With a total of $144,915. Picnics was 1,294, and that was $29,515. Boat rides, total of 550 for $5,500. And the total sales from lake income only is $179,930. The same sales last year, year to date, were $129,685. That's $50,245 more than last year. So with the campground revenue, 2 payments in so far, Jody, when do you get the other payment? Soon?
I would expect it any day now that the season, the Labor Day season.
Right now, we're at $193,266 from all operations at the lake campground. We also got good news today. I have John Pulling here from Tigrass. The project in the industrial park. Would you like to come up and say a few words on it? I'll let you say the good news.
Just for council, John Coolin,
Doctor, if you could just apply the podium, so you're on, yeah, so you're on video. Thank you, sir. No problem.
all right, John Coolin from High Grass Farms. I've been before the council before. I live right on BN Avenue, just outside of town. Happy to report that as of Tuesday, late afternoon, we got our pilings, which has been holding us up for about 6 months. Realized it was 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, I first came before the council and got your support. So it's been a long road getting to here. We look forward to going to work with, Ryan McGowan to get the pre-construction meeting going. We're looking forward to breaking ground and kind of getting everything set there. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on where we're at, what's going on. We did, and I haven't been before you in a while. We did get our annual license back in March. So we've been sitting on that for 6 months while waiting for finance to come through. So it's been a lot of waiting. So I appreciate it. If there are any questions, and that's with it, especially the size and scope of the project, we're doing full transparency. So if there's ever any questions, always feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Regarding your license, is that time sensitive, or you have it and just have it?
We have it. It is time sensitive. They have not, the CRC, the Cannabis Regulatory Commission, has not yet had to do any extensions on the annual licenses they've issued. They've had to do it on conditional license already because they're good for 1 year. We're estimating construction take 14 months. The delays have been a little hurtful, and we want to get going so we can definitely move on this. We will, and we're already working towards petitioning the CRC as we get closer to that year, about 3 months before turn of the year, to extend that. And they've done that with others so far. We expect them to. There's no reason not. Cool. Very good. All right.
I did email you the city application
Thank
today.
you very
Okay.
much. Yes, I will work on that.
Okay.
Tomorrow, so, all right. Thank you, everyone. Oh, sorry.
Okay, has anyone discussed with you the possibility of a community host agreement with the city? Whatever, because if you're gonna be part of the Egg Harbor City community, you should actually be part of it. We would encourage you to make some commitments as far as hiring local people. Maybe you could adopt something in the city, maybe a park, something like that.
I'll say some of those things we already in our license, we've already agreed to, to the CRC. I would love to talk further about the community host agreement. Was unaware of the scope of that and everything, but that's always been our intent to be part of here. It's just been, we've been kind of just laying and waiting for so long. So whoever, through Meg, or if I go through you to get info on that, would love to talk to anyone.
Sure.
So,
Thank you.
I also have a question. Do you have an idea of when you're gonna break ground and how long it'll take to get your facility open?
once we break ground, it should take 14 months barring any supply chain issues. It's just a matter of breaking ground at this point, and we've got to, I'll work with Ryan to get the pre-construction meeting set up and everything up in Tom's. Okay, so. His engineer. Yeah, so we'll thank you. So it's, we'll work that, and I'll try, and now that we're active, I'm gonna say, and we'll be breaking ground, I'll try and come here regularly, because one of the things, again, I want you to be able to ask questions, there's something, you see me, you can ask the question easier, and, this way you stay on top of everything. Right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Best of luck.
All right. And since Keith is here, I'm not gonna bring up Rick's power loss rate, so maybe Angela can talk a little bit about that later. So we had a meeting at the tennis courts today with a gentleman that Jody spoke to, who contracts, I guess, a state contract. So we're looking at options for that. Joe, Mr.
Yes, I was there.
President was there.
I was there.
Joe was there, Butchie was there, and Jody and I attended. So it sounds good. They think that they can work with what they have there for repairs and possibly pickleball courts added. And Gary Pets and his crew from Q-Rec, they'll be doing the milling and clearing of the ground, the tennis court surface. So that'll save us some money too. So hopefully when we get a price, we'll get back to council on that. And we could dream about having pickleball, since everybody seems to want it. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Moving on to council, committee chair reports. I'll start with finance and redevelopment. So earlier this week, if it wasn't the end of last week, I received an email regarding one of our city employees who has been ill for some time now, that has exhausted all of their time up to and including vacation, sick, and compound that has been on the books. So the head of the department reached out asking if the city would be willing in relation and conversation with the collective bargaining unit to establish a sick pool for this individual moving forward till the end of the year, I believe it was correct. I personally believe in sick pools. I think it's a great thing, especially for when people retire, they can put it in with strict, very strict contingencies to the distribution of the sick time to individuals. So with that being said, the employee will remain unnamed. So no personal bias or can be brought into the decision. But what I would like to approach council with tonight is to consider establishing conversation to open up and possibly do an MOA, memorandum of agreement, to attach to their existing contract to establish this sick pool for this individual. If that would expire on December 31st of this year. And then it would be revisited, if not within addition to the contract, or to extend it if necessary. So with that, I would like to open it up to council for any questions or comments regarding what is being asked of us to complete tonight.
When is the contract up?
End of the year.
End of this year?
Mhm.
And how does the sick pool work?
So what would happen is employees would, that are within that CBA would donate some of their sick time they have on the books right now to a pool anonymously. So there's no pointing fingers or anything. And then the department head, in relation with Jody and the mayor, would distribute the sick time accordingly with the strict contingencies that were put forth, which Jody, I do not remember what they were, and I apologize if you want to elaborate on them.
One, we'll try to have it just go through me so no one knows what people, being more anonymous. One, they would not get paid out if they were to retire before the end of the year. If they chose, instead of coming back, if they retired, normally you get a payout of your sick time that's left. If it was people's donated time, it would just go back to the employees that donated. They would not get paid out someone's time. And that as of January, if they came back to work and they got their New Year's allotment of time, that any donated time would go back as well. So that, because they'll get their own as of January 1st, they would be eligible for additional sick time again.
Does it go back to the people donating it, or does it go back to the pool?
No, it goes back to the people donating it,
Okay.
and if it's less than 1 day, it doesn't go back.
And in addition to that, there is New Jersey Administration code and statutes that specifically explain that if they may say gave 20 days worth of sick time, it would be prorated as far as distributing back any leftover time to each of those individuals.
So can I just ask, so it's not always going to be a pool that people can take from. It's when someone gets sick, people will donate their time. At that point, they donate the time since it does go back to the
Yes,
individuals.
it's called a sick bank, and it's for a particular person for a particular short period of time. And particular employees donate to that particular person, certain number of hours or days. And once that person is either gone, doesn't need it, then that portion is completed.
Thank you.
So what is your request in the motion read?
That we establish communication with the bargaining unit to have this conversation, to open up their contract for a MOA, to establish a sick pool from now until the end of the year, December 31st of this year. So this individual can continue to use time in order to receive payment, or I'm sorry, their salary, I guess you could say, until further, either they come back, terminate employment. And when I say terminate, I mean retire or disability, whatever it is.
So we'll come back to us again after we read it written up.
No, right now,
No.
the agreement, the collective bargaining agreement doesn't have anything for a sick bank.
But you're gonna amend that.
So we're gonna amend it, we need to amend it, even though it's only good till the end of this year, in order to establish a policy for the sick bank.
So when that amendment is done, we'll vote on it again.
No,
So, no, when the
it's a MOA,
collective,
it's a memorandum of agreement that will terminate December 31st of 2023.
along with the collective bargaining agreement. When the new agreement comes into place, I'm sure we will add some provision for a sick bank. It may not be this one, but certainly we'll have another provision along with whatever other amendments will be in the new agreement.
So this is just a holdover from now
It is.
until the end of the
That's it.
end of the year.
Right,
For this one specific employee.
but we need to do memorandum because it's not in there now.
Right.
I can't see any way that the city could be hurt by doing this, or the residents or taxpayers, so. I would
So
say
it's optional, it's purely optional. Employees are, it's a request from this individual for the establishment of bank that employees would donate to it. Each employee can give up to 10 days, combination of 5 vacation, 5 sick days. They can't go beyond that. If it's unused, then it turns back to. But then at the January 1, if the person is still here at that point, their regular time that they have replenishes. So at that point, you can like dissolve the bank, return portions back.
Yes, exactly what I just said about 3 months.
And can I just- and is this just from the department that person is?
Yes, it
working
has to be
in?
with,
Okay.
it has to be within the bargaining unit. It cannot be citywide.
I can't see any negative. Motion.
Yeah, if there's no more questions or comments regarding this, yes, if somebody would like to make a motion to establish this, yes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, cover roll calls.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ritchie.
Yes. In addition to that, I'm still waiting on the Teamsters to get back to me. I'm giving them more or less till tomorrow, then I'll be reaching out to them Monday or Tuesday. It's been about 3 weeks now since we made 2 forms of contact regarding the wish list for negotiations. Once I get that, I will be establishing a day and time to have finance committee, which will include the finance committee along with the mayor, Jody, and our labor attorney to review and discuss their requests. And I think that's pretty much it for finance and redevelopment. With that,
Can I ask
there's.
you a question about?
Sure.
Do we have a shop steward?
I did ask them that because the shop steward has, terminated employment with us and went to New Jersey American Water, so that was brought to their attention. I did ask them who their shop steward was, and the representative from the Teamsters said they are still in the process of establishing one. Any other questions? All right, safety, I have nothing at this time. Does anybody have anything from, for highway? Councilman Pikes is not here tonight. All right, code, Councilman Dash.
Yep, I have the office records. Administrative duties, there were 43, certified mail code compliance 26, in-person notifications 25. There were 54 inspections, there were 36 investigations, there were 14 red cards issued, there were 77 telephone email notifications, 18 tags issued, and 35 zoning rewards reviews for a total of 318. There was a situation in a neighborhood that required several agencies' involvement. I would like to thank the police department, code enforcement, the Atlanta County Health Department for all coming together and working through that situation. I believe it's been resolved now, or it's in the process of being finished. But that's all I have for right now.
Thank you, sir. Property parks and playgrounds, Councilwoman Anthony is not here. Does anybody have anything?
Nothing at this time.
No, so we rescheduled that meeting, right?
No, we had it today,
Oh,
but I gotta fill you guys in on,
Okay.
on the meeting.
but, yeah, I thought we rescheduled that, sorry.
We did have a meeting last week
Right.
to discuss the pre-meeting tonight.
Any pertinent information that needs to be passed down? Okay, so I will add something to it, due to an email that was sent out due to damage. Severe damage, not only to the fountain at the park, but also the gazebo at the park. Apparently there was, well, the fountain's in 1,000 different pieces, I believe, correct? And the gazebo has substantial damage to it. Is that correct also?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an issue with the gazebo. I spoke to our public works manager, well, he reached out to me about it actually. And there are gonna be some suggestions made regarding that gazebo moving forward. At this time, I don't know, chief, if you were gonna bring it up, if you want me to bring it up. I can. Regarding the gazebo and everything. Feel free.
Regarding the fountain, that thing hasn't worked for years. Is there a way it could just be removed? And the flowing cap?
It hasn't worked because it was being tampered with, that's why we shut it down. They were putting dips over it and using the base out of it. So that's why we shut it down. But right now, all that's there is the base and the electric, so we should not replace it, we just have to get rid of that.
Alright, so regarding the gazebo, so a suggestion was made to just straight up get rid of it. Cause it
That
has
was the
caused,
fountain, that was our fountain.
no, I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, she was talking about Connie.
Suggestion was to just straight up get rid of it. It has been a thorn in the city side, for as long as I've been sitting up here and probably longer than that. So, due to damage to it, money put in to fix the damage to it. I don't know what the estimate is right now to replace the damage. I don't know, any idea?
No, just basically work that we can do, painting, powers, everything else, rock wood that they're kicking out. Lighting, it's been disarray right now.
It's really not used.
Well, it's used, but not in the way it should be used.
Was donated to Frank.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It was dedicated to Frank Duffy,
Yes.
and,
I think the city's paid for it back in the day.
Well, I
it-
used to go there for over
Yeah, no.
100 years.
I know,
That
Ray Rollins.
one, I was told that that was the one that Rotary Park, but they did not want it. And I asked them if
Right.
they wanted it, and they said they do not want it back.
Yeah, now that one on the Lincoln Park was donated when Frank passed away, they donated.
No, they dedicated.
Dedicated.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Dedicated.
I know Marie Johns was involved in getting that.
Yeah.
But
I don't,
understood, it's been a money.
Yes.
But you know what, more than that, I think it's, oh, and Keith and I had this discussion. It's really not utilized properly or to its fullest extent. Now, my thought, which I ran by Keith, maybe we could do I always wanted to do a memorial for those who served in, Iraq and Afghanistan and the Gulf War, maybe some benches. And obviously, we can't do it where our other memorials are because there's no room. So that could just sort of be an extension of that. But, make it a nice little sitting area, maybe, some trees, whatever, some shrubs, who knows?
No, I like that idea. Regarding the gazebo and a decision on it, I don't want us tonight to make any preemptive decisions just because. I would suggest and ask that we all think about it, come up with solutions. Like I said, it was just brought to attention that it's more trouble than it is aesthetically pleasing now, I guess you could say. To just get rid of it because of the trouble that it causes, the costs that it incurs to maintain with us. So I wanted to bring that to council's attention, take some time to think about it. We will revisit for a decision next meeting that I would ask for. So we can avoid any further damage or costs or whatever may incur with it, so. Councilman Wright, anything for utility?
No.
Councilwoman Clark, license ordinance?
Another license and ordinance.
Councilman Timbers, land use board or Aaron Haven?
Nothing to report.
Thank you, school board?
School board, school is in session. Back to school night for Scrag is going to be on September 20th, so there's going to be an early out for that. Back to school night for the community school is going to be on the 27th, and that's another early dismissal. The next Board of Education meeting is going to be on October 11th. That's all.
Thank you.
Regarding the schools, I'd like to mention that they just got a garage grant to do HVAC improvements, like $600,000-700,000.
Yeah, they didn't even know it. I actually got the email and I had to call the school to find out they wanted more than 500. Yeah, so,
I know over the summer they were working on the HVAC.
yeah,
I think
So
that's
that's-
where it said the school was built.
that's good news for the taxpayers too, because they have this either way. So they all get this grant funding.
I think that money came from, like COVID, during COVID period, that they said that money aside to upgrade HVAC, so it's gonna be in school.
Just came out with last week.
Meg, anything with Jeff?
Nothing.
Councilwoman Hesse, Rotary?
I just have to say, anyone interested in participating in the Halloween parade, there's forms right now, and a Dropbox in the, city hall. Right in, I think it's a box from the clerk's office. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Galloway, Sustainable Leadership?
Yeah, we're gonna be having our, next meeting, 6 p.m. Tuesday, the 26th. And, the newsletter, I'm waiting for people to submit me some stories, or story ideas at least. There's a lot going on at the Rotary Parade and all that stuff should go into this edition. Get that information to me soon as possible because I'm gonna be busy next time. That's all.
Thank you. Chief, how you been?
Well,
How's vacation? Good?
not since I've been back.
So, yeah, we've been busy these last few weeks. School has been off to a pretty good start. I would like to remind everybody to please slow down. Everybody's still kind of getting into the routine of getting to school early in the morning. You will see us out at both the community and the elementary schools, showing people along who are double parked and parking for too long. I recognize everybody needs to get to school, to work, but we all, maybe leave a minute or two earlier, and I know with kids that's difficult, but instead of rushing around, I guess the last thing you want to see is any kind of accident involving any of our youngsters. Most of them are walkers or car riders. So that's been good. Cedar Creek's off to a great start. Both academically and sports wise. For us in the PD, we have been busy. Just some numbers for you quickly. Since our last meeting on August 24th through yesterday or through midnight at on 9/14, we had 3 burglaries, 2 narcotics / CDF activities. Those were specific calls for service that were referenced as that. We're going to talk more about narcotics and CDS in a bit. Once the ball club that. 19 motor vehicle accidents, 6 pedestrian stops, 219 traffic stops. We had a total of 114 summonses issued, 20 adult arrests, 13 business alarms, 4 residential alarms, 219 crime prevention activities, 2 criminal mischief calls, 15 domestics, 37 EMS incidents, 1 firearms ID application, 28 follow-ups, 587 property checks, and 11 public service calls. In terms of operations for training and inspections, Lieutenant Perna is currently an RC investigator school, which is awesome. They are splitting, PD is splitting the cost with the fire department. It's really hard school to get anybody into, but because of his involvement in both the PD and his work with the fire department, we were able to get him in. So that's super exciting. And I can't wait for there to be some non-fatal, non-really damaging thing for him to investigate. We conducted an inspection, a mobile inspection checkpoint on August 31st on 30 and Baltimore Avenue. The point of that is we're all busy and it takes some time to build a DMV. So we had DMV come to us, with NBC come to us. So we did that. We also participated in the statewide Drive Sober Get Pulled Over initiative, grant funding from the state. We did 40 hours of road patrol to, crack down on drunk driving, issue citations and such. Talked about the start of school. We've had some significant incidents in town. On September 1st, we did have a fatal motor vehicle accident at the intersection of Route 30 and 6 Terrace, right there at the diner and the back entrance to Wawa. A motorcycle traveling eastbound on the White Horse Pike collided with a motor vehicle that was turning into the terrace to get to Wawa. The driver and the passenger of the motor vehicle, the actual passenger vehicle, were uninjured. Unfortunately, the driver of the motorcycle did pass away from his injuries while at the hospital. Another one of our accidents was on Tuesday, September 5th. It was on the corner block of Philadelphia Avenue. It was a motor vehicle accident involving 1 moving vehicle, multiple parked vehicles. 2 pedestrians were injured severely in the accident. The driver was not injured. Both of these are still ongoing investigations. Being with the severity of the injuries and the loss of life, we've got our work cut out for us. We have been assisted by the Atlanta Prosecutor's Office, but we are taking everything very slowly to make sure that our I's are dotted, T's are crossed. And of course, our condolences and prayers go out to the families of both deceased and the injured parties. Other things that we have gone on September 7th. Members of the Egg Harbor City Police Department and the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office Guns, Gangs, and Narcotics Unit executed a search warrant at a residence on the unit block at 2nd Terrace in Egg Harbor City. The search warrant was part of an ongoing investigation into the distribution of illegal narcotics in Egg Harbor City. As a result of the investigation, John C. Malik, 66, of Egg Harbor City, was arrested and charged with the following: possession with the intent to distribute CDS, possession of prescription-led drugs, possession of CDS, possession of a weapon during CDS offenses, 2 counts thereof, and distribution of CDS within 500 feet of public housing. The investigation was conducted and led by the Egg Harbor City Police Department with the assistance of the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office Guns, Gangs, Narcotics Unit. Malik was lodged on a warrant in Atlantic County Justice Facility. So we have been busy. Of the of the 20 adult arrests. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of those were drug possession. Some were substantial, some not so much. Others were involving paraphernalia. So we have been busy and doing that. So when I would tell you that there's 2 narcotics activities call, that's when somebody calls something in saying that there is drug-related activity going on. That does not include the stuff that we self-initiate. So, that's about all I have.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Jody, anything CFO?
Sorry, just a minute. Keith wasn't gonna be able at the meeting. Do you want to talk about the sweeper a little bit?
Yeah, so we've demoed 2 sweepers, one from Grand Turk, which was a mechanical sweeper, and one from a company called Municipal, or A1 Municipal, I think it's called, which is a vacuum machine. We did that yesterday, and we got a quote back from him. It looks like the second machine demoed is going to be the lower quote. Exciting news, it does come with an attachment to help us with storm drain cleaning, which is something we've planned for a very long time. They did preface that it is a good machine to start the cleaning of the storm drain, but the final couple feet is going to be all handwork as well, as it's always been. But if we can get the first 5 to 6 feet done by a machine versus by hand, we're really going somewhere. So I talked to Jody, and it looks like being that it's a Sourcewell contract, you can go through the process of advertising it and awarding it, and it looks like we'll be about 6 months out for delivery, and we choose to go that route.
So usually for Sourcewell, you have to place an ad and then we would award a contract. So probably most likely the first October meeting is when we would have all that timing. So if it'll either be the first or second meeting of October that contract award would be on the agenda.
Will it be below the budget that we set? It'll be above.
Can you forward the quotes?
Mhm.
Appreciate it.
Keith, I have a quick question.
Sure.
About it. Does it get the grass that people don't weed whack in their gutters?
So it'll do a very good job at 3/4 of it, yes. It won't take all, but this machine has two brooms that sweep into a vacuum. It also has a barn that comes out, so you can extend out and make a 3rd broom. And at that point, you're actually doing a lot more on the curb cleanup with those 3 running. The first thing I seen, I was like, I don't really want the 3rd broom, it just looks like someone's gonna break it, but after we did the demo, it was extremely valuable to the operation. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, Jody, if you could forward the quotes to the council for review.
Sure.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Meg, anything?
I have nothing.
All right. Angela.
I only have one thing.
Okay.
So I sent to everyone the resolution and the shared services agreement with the Atlantic County Improvement Authority. I highly recommend that you consider it, and if you can approve it this evening, we can adopt the resolution, and that way I can send over the SSA to them tomorrow.
So this is regarding abandoned properties.
Yes, abandoned foreclosed properties. It's essentially the same as what we had with Pro Champs and Community Champions. Unfortunately, they went into bankruptcy or no longer viable. There's no cost to the city. We have our ordinance in place, which we implemented in 2022, which says we collect $500. This will be the job of the new company, Hera LLC. They will collect the $500. They will identify the foreclosed and abandoned properties for us. There'll be a registry for us to look at and implement. Of the $500, they will get $100. The Atlantic County Improvement Authority gets the other $100, so we collect $300. Right now, since May or June, we haven't collected anything, and we have had no update on the registry. And I know that foreclosures are imminent if they haven't gone down already because of COVID and et cetera. So I anticipate a lot of foreclosures.
Any questions regarding the language of the service? All right, if there's no questions or comments, may I have a motion to accept the proposal?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ritchie.
Yes,
And that's it. Thank you very much.
thank you. Ryan, engineer report?
3 things, but I'll be quick. One's on the agenda, the Weisbecker demo. We brought this up, we wrote a council recommendation letter that it should be demolished, that it's a public hazard. We're recommending, under that resolution, that council authorize us to obtain quotes, and if the low quote is under $44,000, which is the threshold, that that we would award to that low quoter and move forward essentially before the next meeting. So anything below 44,000 would, we essentially be asking to authorize any quote that we receive below 44,000. We'll obtain multiple quotes, whoever the lowest is, that's who will get it. It's below that number. So that's what that agenda item is. Update on the Third Terrace resident concerns. We had drainage issues we discussed there. So we pulled some of our project files, we put together a elevation map, we have some more pre-existing photos. We have the plans, we have the concept and updated estimate. I would like council's authorization to go get quotes for that. And then once I have them, be able to come back and meet with the finance committee to talk about, whether we're gonna move forward or what the avenue is.
Any questions? Excuse me, any questions or regarding that? Not
Just have a question. Could you just, which one is this?
Sure, it's Third Terrace between Beethoven and Burger Street. And then the last thing is just that we're scheduled survey. I think part of it is probably already completed at the Atlantic Avenue pedestrian project and Liverpool Avenue projects. We do wetlands delineation on Atlantic, so that takes a little longer, but they're moving along.
All right. So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit regarding the Weisbeckers and the contract. What is the time frame to advertise?
Well, so if we can get quotes below 44,000, we can request quotes, give them a couple of days to respond. In theory, we could have quotes in hand, ready to go by the end of next week. As long as everyone
During the
responds.
next confirmation.
Well, ideally, if you
That's kind of why we
authorize,
put the up
Yeah,
there, because
well, that's why
basically
I'm
authorizing us to
saying-
award like a non-fair and open sort of.
Right.
Right.
It's a little different, but since it's kind of an emergency situation, trying to follow purchasing as best we can with moving with.
right, if you guys would authorize the expenditure of up to 44,000, we will obtain quotes. If we get one lower than 44, then we'll move forward with it immediately, rather than waiting till the next council meeting.
And regarding the request to go out and get quotes for the repair work.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding that? And if not, can we have a motion to authorize that?
I'll make one.
I'll second. Roll call please.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ritchie.
Yes,
I have no idea.
And as soon as we have some, like I said, we'll schedule with finance and go over all the details.
sounds good. Anything else?
Fix the
That's it, unless there's any questions.
Any questions for Ryan? All right, thank you, sir.
Warner Beethoven.
All right, number 13, we got a motion to approve the use of Lincoln Park, Macedonia Baptist Church on September 23rd of this year, 11 to 2, community outreach and fellowship. Any questions or comments? I have a motion.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? All right. 14 is a resolution 100% disabled veteran property tax exemption. Is this for a specific property?
Yes,
Okay,
I did.
I know. Yeah, any questions or comments? All right, I have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second.
roll call please.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash.
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
Wright.
Yeah.
Ritchie.
Yes. 15 is a resolution, chapter 159, MVP ARP grant. We were awarded, is that correct? $238,668.
That's for the, for
The garden. Awesome. Any questions or comments? Not made a motion.
A second.
Roll call?
Clark,
Yes.
Dash.
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Hesse.
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
Wright.
Yeah.
Ritchie.
Yes. Resolution for number 16 is chapter 159 MPP year 3 grant awards $125,000. No questions or comments? Have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Clark.
Yes.
Dash.
Yes.
Galloway.
Yes.
Hesse.
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
Wright.
Yeah.
Ritchie.
Yes. 17 is what we just spoke about with Weisbeckers, resolution for emergency contract award, Weisbeckers demolition. Any further questions or comments regarding this? Not, may I have a motion.
I make a motion.
Second. Roll call?
Clark,
Yes.
Dash.
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
Wright.
Yeah.
Ritchie.
Yes. 18 is a resolution to amend the fees at Garden City Lake Park. Any questions or comments regarding this? Have a motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ritchie.
Yes. And number 19 is a resolution, as we all saw in the news about 2 weeks ago regarding ACY Airport. Opposing the suggestion to utilize the Atlantic City International Airport as a shelter for migrants. Is there any questions or comments regarding this? If not, may I have a motion to accept this.
So moved.
All in favor?
I
Any nays?
recuse myself from that discussion, please.
I'm sorry?
I refuse.
Abstain?
No, nay.
No,
No,
I refuse. I can't discuss.
understood. Resolution passing.
Yes.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the bill?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Timbers, Wright.
Yes.
Ritchie.
Yes. Mayor, the floor is yours for any last comments.
Just one thing I did forget, Paul McIntyre from the American Legion is in the process of planning, the Veterans Day celebration that we have at the Region Hall. And it's looking like it'll be Saturday, the 11th, at 11 a.m. So I don't know how that coincides with anybody. Schedule, football and otherwise, but from my Cedar Creek issue. the Brian-
Nah,
No. Did I say something? November.
Yeah.
November?
Yeah, November, no, it shouldn't be a problem, right?
November, October.
It could be depending on the Satyrs, how well they do, that's championship weekend,
Okay.
so, but that depends on how they do.
We're going to be there. That's how we're going to do
Oh,
it.
wow.
But he won't change it. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is.
It's for your newsletter. You want us to send you the information?
For November? No,
No.
They'll complicate things.
Anything else, Mayor? Thank you. Councilman Dash, anything?
Oh, yeah, like, some
Oh,
of
sorry. Oh, yeah, Mr. Kelly, sorry. I'm having- Yeah.
Send my condolences out to the Messina family, Tom and his wife Rita, they were wonderful people. Most people here knew him from all of his work and volunteering in Egg Harbor City. I knew the two of them many, many years ago for their love of animals, and they actually assisted on our television show many times back in the day. The other thing is, there was a very exciting NPP meeting, some of us on council here, and the mayor were present last night. There's gonna be some really exciting things coming to Philadelphia Avenue, to the NPP zone. I'd like to thank Karen Adams, really doing a great job keeping everything together. And so I'm very excited to see what's gonna be happening with Philadelphia Avenue. The businesses are gonna be contacted, and we're hoping that we get a good buy-in from the businesses, so we make Philadelphia Avenue much more presentable. And go Birds.
Councilman Wright.
Yeah, there's a couple things, just to let everybody know, this Saturday is the Satyrs home football game against Buna. Come out and support the kids, we've had 2 home games the last 2 weekends, and luckily we have no problems out there, knock on wood. It's been peaceful, so that's a blessing. Also, our beef and beer, Crusaders Beef and Beer crossovers will be September 30th, 6 to 9. So anybody who wants to donate a basket or attend the beef and beer, you can head on down to the football field or contact myself or one of the board members will be able to get tickets. You could also purchase them at the door. Yeah, homecoming is Friday tomorrow night. Our annual homecoming. So the boys will be out there watching the girls do their halftime. Kids will get their free food and then we'll do like a little bonfire on a baseball field like we usually do. So if anybody calls the police, that's. But I think that's pretty much it. I'll let Councilman Clark talk about the trunk or treat and that stuff coming up.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Timbers.
Go Birds. I just wanted to say something about one of our legislations tonight along the our support or opposition to the use of the international airport as a shelter space. My only concern for this is why I consider voting for this resolution is that we live in a city with a population of about 5,000. Let's say you was 5. If you were to, just locate 60,000 people, in Atlantic County, a large portion of them are going to be school-aged children. I don't know if the county itself has the resources to support 60,000 people. And I know with this, everybody is not an illegal migrant. Some of these people come from the Ukraine, right? They deserve to be somewhere, but the airport is not that place. That's all. Oh, again, go for it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hesse.
I just want to send my condolences to the Gina family.
Thank you. Councilwoman Clark.
So Friday, October 13th, yes, Friday the 13th, the Crusaders will be having their second annual trunk or treat from 6 to 8 p.m. We are looking for sponsors, we're looking for participants. We're hoping that the coaches this year have a little competition between each other for the best station. You know, as a member of the Booster Club, you know, I sent a challenge out to the rest of the coaches and told them that we're planning to clown them this year. So feel free to come out and enjoy. It's going to be a fun event. It was pretty big last year, and we're hoping to make it even bigger and, you know, have a great tradition started in Egg Harbor City with the Crusaders. And, you know, council, if you guys want to come and set up a station, more than welcome to. You know, we're looking forward to it.
The more the merrier.
Yep, the more the merrier.
Bring a vehicle.
Yep, bring a vehicle, bring a table.
And
That's it.
can I ask you about the costumes that you're requesting?
Oh, so also we started a program called Renew the Boo. So I know a lot of us have, and myself, we have that tote in the attic just taking up space with old costumes that our kids have outgrown. So we started the Renew the Boo program where before trunk or treat, we have a table set up with all of the donated costumes. So for kids who don't have costumes or, you know, can't afford costumes, they come and can pick from what the donated that we have free of charge.
Where did they drop them off?
They could drop them off at the concession stand. We're there Tuesday through Friday from 6 to 8.
And you guys can reach out to me too, or
Yeah.
whoever, one of the board members, we can always pick one.
Thank you. Councilwoman Galloway.
Good job on you for recycling.
Thank you.
I just wanted to give my condolences to the Messina family. Tom Messina put the roof on my house. So.
It was
thank you,
broken until
Tom.
he was 90.
That's all.
Thank you. I'll finish out with, again, everyone said up here on behalf of the mayor and all council condolences to the Messina family. And also to our public works, we put.
That's what I wanted to touch base with.
Yeah, so council decided to have you guys out there doing a Crusaders game. And I personally, and I think others up here think you guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Yes.
Can I touch on that?
Absolutely.
Keith, I've totally slipped my mind, but I want to send you and your crew. I've been out there for 20 years. I've never, ever seen that field so clean on a Saturday night. I think it's a competition that they're having out there.
Yeah.
Who can do what? But I'll tell you what, Ray and Junior, the last two that have been out there have done a phenomenal job. I mean, I can't thank you guys enough. I mean, usually I'm out there till about 3 in the morning. And then back there again Sunday morning, or I don't even make it back there till, you know, I'm already getting a phone call, why is there trash out there already? It's, you know, by certain people, but I don't get that phone call no more, and it's a blessing. I can't thank you guys enough. Definitely best on, and they're definitely in a competition.
So superb job. In addition to that, Mason, also just hearing parents talking about having an ambulance there.
Yes,
now.
that's the other thing too.
They feel, how can I say, a lot, they feel safer, I guess you could say, or more stable, knowing that EMS is on site now for 8 hours out of the day, instead of having to wait from, God forbid, any kind of.
We did, not to cut you off, but we did, our first expedition game that we had, I was warming up my JV kids, and Violin was warming up their JV kids, and I saw the ambulance go over there, and they actually had a kid break his wrist right in the middle of the warm up.
And the parents thought, they came to the meeting last Thursday and thanked us enough for having an ambulance on site that can actually attend to him and get him slinged up and then let him go about his way, because otherwise they would have to take him to the Galloway Hospital, sit down in there, and then basically they're all coming from violence, so they couldn't be more thankful about that.
So, and then also with police chief having them out there patrolling on foot and doing everything, there's definitely a better sense of security and safety at that field. I see, Mason sees, everybody is involved, coaches, players, everybody. So, kudos to council, it's money well spent. And, it's really being noticed. So, with that being said, I will open up to the public. If anybody has any comments from the public.
Can I just,
Sure.
I want to piggyback, it wasn't really part of my report, but, regarding the sick bank, I don't know if there is any way to cross collective bargaining agreements, but I do know that we at PD have spoken about, donating time. I know that many of the officers have expressed interest in it. I don't know what the size of the Teamsters Union in numbers is here in Ann Arbor City. I don't know if it's enough to get the individual to the point where he or she can be at retirement. So I just want to put it out there, if there is any way where we can have our mainland 77 speak to and coordinate with the Teamsters to contribute to that pool. We are more than interested in it. We're a small group of employees and, whatever we can do to help.
Yeah, I professionally, I've experienced this in my employment, so I know it's specific to bargaining units. So that's where PBA would have to also open up their contract and, yes.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
we're not opposed to that.
Okay,
So just, I want to make sure that we keep that in mind, so that way we can
yeah,
get.
absolutely. If they want to be involved, absolutely, we can definitely reach out.
All right, great.
So,
That's it.
thank you. Sir, come on up to the podium, name, address.
Richard Lampkin at 346 Washington Avenue, talking about the third terrace issue.
Yes.
You were facing this way, so I didn't hear everything that you said, but I think that you said that you had the approval of council to go and get quotes.
Correct.
To that, okay. It was my opinion, the last month we were here, that you were going to get a second opinion. Has there been, am I correct with that?
No, I don't think
You
so.
said no.
No, so, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't.
That was a suggestion that was never moved on.
Okay, all right, so we're not getting a second opinion, so.
Now we are, in all actuality, by approving this, correct me if I'm wrong, to get quotes for the repair, correct?
Well, yeah, we'll be working with contractors to get
Right.
quotes on what we're proposing. They always have suggestions.
All right, so the quotes are for the suggestions that you are proposing for them to fix the problem.
Well, yeah, it would be quotes from contractors to install a inlet underground drainage. And again, they always provide comments when you obtain quotes of suggestions of what they would prefer to see, prefer to do.
The timeline for this, because I know this has been a 6-year project.
Sure. I mean, getting a couple contractors to get back to us, I would say we should have something for the next meeting. At least quotes, but we need to go back and meet with the finance committee after that to go through everything. So I would say probably not the next meeting, but the following meeting would be ready to take action.
Okay, has anyone been out to the property? I know there have been some that have been out there. I don't know if you were there prior to. Have they been out to the property to look at what the problem is, and that the suggestion that, as I take it from the last meeting, of how you're proposing to fix it, I don't quite understand that, because it is upline of where the problem is. And it's probably the distance from where you're proposing to have this drainage containment there is probably, what would you say, 7,500 feet from where the issue is to the property?
You need 200 feet?
Yeah.
From your property?
From where the drainage containment is going to be to the property.
The inlet would be very close to the corner of Mark's property. We have to sort of fit it in with that utility.
Okay.
But it would be essentially immediately upstream. All the water is coming from the high point near the church. We're trying to intercept everything we can before we get to your two properties. So in theory, if you have an inlet there, the only water that would come to your property is what falls on the road, the half width, because it's crowned. So the only water that would come to your property is what falls on the half width of the road. So 10 feet of asphalt for 100 feet. That would be the only water that would come.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, sir. Sir, step on up, state your name, address.
I know you gotta get to the game, watch fight. Ben Ridley, 2558 Purple Avenue. I just got a couple questions to ask. Tower site, any update?
It's being foreclosed on by the gentleman that's doing the studio.
Great. Atlantic County Economic Alliance, have they done it? I see we're partnering in that now, but has they done anything?
There's meetings, they do have meetings. I have not.
Because I just haven't heard anything.
What was the
So,
question? I didn't hear.
The Atlantic County Economic Alliance that we.
Yeah, I did, I just sent out an email to everybody like last week about meetings that are, yeah.
All right, good. And then, I think on, Councilwoman Galway's through the trash cans, you are right, there is horrible trash back on your terrace back there.
You wanna come and clean it up?
No, I went by, drove, but there are ordinances that we have in place that say that there's a certain middle trash can bag you have to have, and so we just need, them to follow through with it. And I also looked to see if there was an ordinance that we had for, because 50% of our residents are landlord, they're renters. So I don't know if that, the checklist that you have for approval of the annual rentals, maybe put it, so they gotta have a trash.
Yeah,
can.
we're working on that. We
Because
have
that would
a
be,
big-
if you put it, don't let us pay for it, let the landlord pay for the trash can. So that's, I drove around looking all over, yours is probably the worst street. Nothing I like to see, I don't know if this is council news or not, but I'd like to see a debate with the upcoming candidates for November. If we could do that, make it happen. It's a great idea. It's a great idea, because then you would get people out to see what the candidates are, how they talk, what they're gonna do. It would be great for the city, and I think Jean Marie would love it being her site.
I think that's
Are you
something that would
kidding
have to be done by
Wait,
the community.
time out.
not-
Good. She would like, I don't know where you want to put it.
Time out.
Go ahead.
That site
Right, I know, it's,
is the worst thing that ever happened.
then if
to
we could do it
Edgewater
with
City.
Egg City, it'd be better.
To put something like that on that site is giving credibility to it. And I can tell you firsthand that the #1 complaints of residents of Egg
Right.
Harbor City
She's-
is that
She is
site.
negative, yes, she's negative.
That site and not having. a
Her
fixed
site or whatever. I don't even know what
Other
site.
than that,
But I think it would be good if we could do it in here and stream live, it'd be great, if people could see what our candidates are about. You can write anything down on paper and submit it, but you can't tell what the candidates were, which is in front of you, and then address it. So that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else from public? Going once, going twice. No. Motion to adjourn.
Shut down quick.